March 15, 2023, 4:40 p.m. Highway 440 Laval. A black Mercedes travels at 74 kilometers per hour. The driver is Leonardo Rizzuto, age 53, a lawyer. A white Porsche pulls alongside. 6 shots are fired. 3 bullets hit the door, 2 penetrate the window, both tires explode. Leonardo doesn't brake. He drives on destroyed rims for 2 kilometers. He pulls into a funeral home parking lot. Blood on his pants. He refuses medical attention. Refuses to speak to police. 82 days later, the man suspected of ordering the shooting is found dead in a gym parking lot. 17 rounds fired. 14 bullets hit their target. Leonardo Rizzuto is questioned. He provides no information. This is the 3rd time someone has tried to kill him, and he's still breathing. If this already has you hooked, hit subscribe. You're about to find out how a lawyer became the most wanted man in Canada. Leonardo Rizzuto didn't choose his bloodline. His grandfather, Niccolo Rizzuto, immigrated to Canada from Sicily in 1954 with his wife Libertina. Libertina's father, Antonio Mano, was a mafia leader back in their hometown of Cattolica Eraclea. Niccolo worked under the Catroni crime family. The Calabrians controlled Montreal. Niccolo was Sicilian. He earned through the drug trade. He made more money than his Calabrian bosses. Tension reached breaking point. Paolo Violi, a Calabrian underboss, was named successor. Niccolo was passed over. He was enraged. January 22, 1978. Paolo Violi walked into the bar Jean Talon on Jean Talon Street. It was his own establishment. He felt safe there. 2 gunmen were waiting. They approached from behind. Violi was shot multiple times in the head and neck. He collapsed, died on the floor at his own bar. Niccolo fled to Venezuela. His son Vito, Leonardo's father, handled operations from Montreal. By 1980, the Rizzutos controlled the city. Vito married Giovanna Camilleri in 1966. December 4, 1967, their first son was born, Niccolo Rizzuto Jr. Their second son came later, Leonardo. Leonardo grew up on Gouin Boulevard in Cartierville. Police called it the Village. The family operated in plain sight. Drug importation, money laundering, loan sharking, illegal gambling, construction extortion. The Rizzutos controlled organized crime across Quebec and Ontario. Vito was known as the Teflon Don. He maintained relationships with the Bonanno family, the Hells Angels, and the West End Gang. But Leonardo took a different path, one that would make him more dangerous than his father ever was. 1999, Leonardo received his law license from the Quebec Bar Association. On paper, he was a legitimate attorney representing clients in criminal cases. But according to investigators, his law office became something else entirely, a command center for mafia operations. His colleague, Maurice Cavalier, operated from the same firm, and police surveillance revealed that Cavalier's office was where the most crucial organized crime decisions were made. Lawyer by day, alleged mob administrator by night. Then his father's protection disappeared. January 20, 2004, federal agents arrested Vito Rizzuto. The charge was conspiracy to commit murder. 3 Bonanno capos killed in New York in 1981. An informant had testified against him, Joe Messino, a former Bonanno boss who turned government witness. August 17, 2006, Vito was extradited. May 4, 2007, he pleaded guilty. He received 10 years, and Montreal erupted. August 21, 2009, Federico Del Peschio was shot behind La Cantina restaurant in a Huntsic. 3 bullets to the head. December 28, 2009, 8 p.m. Christmas had just passed. Leonardo's brother, Nick Rizzuto Jr., left a family gathering. He walked to his car. 6 shots rang out. Nick collapsed on the pavement. He was 42 years old. He had a wife, 2 children waiting at home. Leonardo had just lost his brother. His father was locked in an American prison, and the people responsible were still out there. May 20th, 2010, Paolo Renda disappeared. Paolo was Vito's brother-in-law and the family's consigliere. His vehicle was found abandoned. Police presumed murder. June 30th, 2010, Agostino Contreras was shot outside a produce company in St. Leonard, killed alongside his bodyguard, Laborio Sciascia. 17 rounds, broad daylight, witnesses everywhere, nobody saw anything. November 10, 2010, 5:41 p.m. Leonardo Rizzuto sat at his kitchen table in Cartierville, his wife, Libertina, beside him. They were preparing dinner, the way they had for decades. A rifle shot shattered the rear window. The bullet struck Leonardo in the chest. He died in his wife's arms. The founder of the empire, killed in his own kitchen. Age 86. The shot was fired from 160 meters away. No shell casings recovered. Professional assassination. Leonardo lost his brother, uncle, and grandfather. 14 months. All while his father was imprisoned. October 5, 2012. Vito was released. According to law enforcement, he compiled a list. November 2012. 3 murders, 3 weeks. Emilio Cordileone, Tony Ginsale, Mohammed Awada, all shot dead. Vito was questioned. He attempted to restore order. Rebuilt alliances with the Hells Angels and street gangs. December 23, 2013. Vito died at Sacré-Cœur Hospital, lung cancer, age 67. What followed wasn't revenge, it was a reset. The empire passed to Leonardo, the second son, the one who became a lawyer, the one who was never supposed to lead. And now he had no choice. He partnered with Stefano Sollecito. Stefano's father, Rocco, had been one of Vito's most trusted lieutenants. Now, the son split leadership. Police were watching. Surveillance identified their base, Loris Cavalier's law office. Wiretaps captured conversations about cocaine shipments, territorial boundaries, enforcement actions. The recordings were damning. But Leonardo had one advantage his father never did. He was a lawyer, and he knew exactly where the line was. November 19, 2015. Project Maggot and Project Mastiff. 150 officers raided Quebec. Leonardo and Stefano were arrested. 47 others. Charges: conspiracy to traffic drugs, gangsterism, operating a criminal organization. Leonardo's defense: wiretaps recorded in a law office, violated solicitor-client privilege. February 19, 2018. Superior Court ruled in favor of defense. Wiretap evidence inadmissible. All charges dismissed. They walked free. But the violence didn't stop, because Francesco Del Balso was about to make a fatal mistake. March 1, 2016. Lorenzo Scump Giordano sat in a vehicle in Homede. 8:40 a.m. 2 shots fired into the back of his head. Age 52. May 27, 2016. Rocco Sollecito was shot driving his BMW in Laval. Multiple gunmen. 17 hits. This was Stefano's father, one of Leonardo's partners. Francesco Del Balso was arrested in 2006. Operation Colisée, convicted of gangsterism and conspiracy to import cocaine. 12 years. Released 2016. Reincarcerated over safety concerns. Parole documents next on an execution list. Released again 2017. Del Balso ran illegal gambling for the Rizzutos. After release, he tried reclaiming territory. Made moves without authorization. Conflict with Leonardo and Stefano. March 15, 2023, 4:40 p.m. Highway 440. Leonardo driving. White Porsche pulled alongside. 6 shots. Vehicle struck. Both tires exploded. Continued on bare rims. Pulled into funeral home. Refused treatment. Refused statement. White Porsche found burned. Rental records traced to holding company with Del Balso connections. March 21, 2023. Police stops Del Balso at Montreal Trudeau Airport. Attempting flight to Cancun. Seized passport. Insufficient evidence. Released. Del Balso understood. He tried killing Leonardo. Retaliation coming. June 5, 2023. Del Balso exited Monster Gym, Dorval. 2 gunmen. 17 shots. 14 hits. Pronounced dead. 82 days after the highway shooting, Leonardo was questioned again. He said nothing, but someone else was talking. 2022. Frederick Silva. Convicted hitman. Life without parole. He'd worked contract killings for multiple groups. and now he wanted a deal. Silva approached investigators, offered cooperation, information on unsolved murders 2011 to 2021, identified who ordered killings. One name repeated: Leonardo Rizzuto. Police launched Project Alliance, Montreal Police and Sûreté du Québec. 3 years. Corroborated Silva testimony, financial records, surveillance. Primary target: Lorenzo Larry Lepresti killing, October 24, 2011. Lepresti shot on balcony. Silva testified involvement, identified Leonardo approving contract. Project Alliance expanded. 6 other murders, 2011 to 2021. June 12, 2025, 6 a.m. 150 officers raided Quebec. 11 arrested. Leonardo, Stefano, 9 others. First-degree murder or conspiracy. Leonardo custody. Court appearance next day. Pleaded not guilty. Prosecutor: 8 victims, 14 years. Silva testimony, corroborated by financial evidence, surveillance, witnesses. Bail denied. Remanded Rivière des Prairies. Maximum security. Trial 2026. If convicted, multiple life sentences. July 2, 2025. Quebec Bar Association suspended Leonardo's law license. November 23, 2025. Automatic weapon fire, outside prison, 43 rounds, AR-15, directed at courtyard where Leonardo and his associates were present. No injuries, but the message was clear. Police found shell casings, photographs, 8x10 prints of Leonardo's face, each one marked with a red X. 2 theories: genuine assassination or staged event. Evening, Leonardo transferred to Bordeaux. Julian Scher, investigative journalist. Leonardo knows his days numbered. Convicted or acquitted. Prison or street. Too many enemies. Jail walls can't protect him. Question no longer if someone kills Leonardo. Question is when. Quick reminder, if you're still watching, this story is about to take a darker turn. Hit subscribe so you don't miss how a lawyer's empire crumbles from the inside. The case rests on Frederick Silva's testimony. Age 44, serving life without parole for first-degree murder. Cooperation began 2022. He contacted police through attorney. Offered information on unsolved murders. Wanted parole consideration. Prosecutors evaluated. Silva provided specific details only direct knowledge could explain. He described crime scenes, identified weapons. Lorenzo Lepresti murder, October 24, 2011. Silva stated contract approved by Leonardo Rizzuto. Target identified as disloyal. Needed elimination as message. Police reviewed financial records. Sound unusual transactions weeks before death. Cash withdrawals. Shell company transfers. Payments matching Silva's contract description. They analyzed surveillance from businesses near Lepresti's apartment. Identified vehicles appearing before murder. Traced to rentals. False identities. But payments traced to Rizzuto associate accounts. They interviewed witnesses, reluctant in 2011. With Silva testimony, some reconsidered. Confirmed unfamiliar vehicles, suspicious individuals in neighborhood. Case expanded to 7 other victims. Defense argued Silva unreliable by definition. Convicted murderer. Previously lied. Motivated by self-interest. Testimony designed for better treatment and eventual release. They pointed out inconsistencies, details changing between interviews, timelines misaligning. Suggested Silva telling investigators what they wanted. Building case from police questions, not genuine knowledge. Prosecution countered with corroborating evidence. Silva's information led to evidence otherwise unfound. Provided starting points yielding independent confirmation. Testimony consistent on major points despite minor detail variations. Trial hinges on jury believing corroborating evidence sufficient. Silva credible enough for convictions. Proving beyond reasonable doubt, Leonardo ordered killings. Inside Bordeaux prison, Leonardo waited. His attorney visited regularly. They prepared his defense, reviewed evidence, built their case. Leonardo's position was simple. The charges were fabricated. Silva was lying for personal gain. Leonardo was being targeted because of his name. Police wanted a victory over the Rizzutos. Any victory. Attorney filed motions, challenging Silva admissibility. Too prejudicial. Corroborating evidence circumstantial. No physical evidence linking Leonardo to crime scenes. No murder weapon. No DNA. no fingerprints, judge scheduled hearings, pre-trial motions determining jury evidence. These rulings would shape trial, strengthen or weaken prosecution significantly. Outside those prison walls, an empire was collapsing. The organization was operating without Leonardo. Stefano was in custody. Others had been arrested. The leadership structure was broken. Street operations continued. Drug distribution, gambling, loan sharking. But coordination was fragmented. Some maintained loyalty to Leonardo. Others saw his arrest as an opportunity to break away. The Hells Angels capitalized immediately. They expanded into former Rizzuto territories. They established direct relationships with street gangs, cutting out the traditional intermediaries. Their share of Montreal's drug market increased significantly. Calabrian crime groups made their move as well. Families that had been subordinate to the Rizzutos for decades began testing boundaries. They approached former Rizzuto associates with offers of partnership and better terms. Independent operators emerged. Former Rizzuto workers launched their own operations using existing contacts and relationships they'd built over years. Montreal's organized crime landscape was fragmenting. The centralized control the Rizzutos had maintained was dissolving. Police noted change. Violent incidents increased. Public shootings, broad daylight attacks, civilians at risk. Previous leadership maintained order through power, avoided public violence. New environment lacked discipline. Antonio Nicasso published analysis. Rizzuto era ending. Leonardo might be last boss. Even if acquitted, couldn't rebuild. Too fractured. Too many enemies. Question everyone asking. If convicted, who takes over? If acquitted, can he reclaim control? Charges against Leonardo represent more than one man's fate. They mark potential end of a dynasty controlling Montreal 4 decades. Project Alliance arrested 11. Leonard and Stefano faced most serious charges. First-degree murder, multiple victims. If convicted, mandatory life sentences. Other 9 defendants faced varying charges. Conspiracy to commit murder, accessory after the fact. All pleaded not guilty, all denied bail. Trial date set March 2026. Legal experts predicted months of proceedings. Silva would be prosecution's key witness. His testimony would consume weeks. Defense attorneys would cross-examine aggressively. They would attack credibility, highlight criminal history, expose inconsistencies. Prosecution planned calling other witnesses, police investigators who conducted surveillance, forensic experts who analyzed evidence, financial analysts who traced money flows. Canadian media covered extensively. Arrests, front-page news. Rizzuto name carried weight. But story wasn't just about one family. Montreal's transformation from city where organized crime operated with impunity to one where law enforcement had tools and willingness to prosecute. Project Alliance built differently. Silva testimony provided probable cause, evidence gathered legally sound, case structured to withstand constitutional challenges. Evolution in law enforcement strategy, not just targeting organization, but building cases surviving legal scrutiny. For Montreal's underworld, this created uncertainty. If Leonardo prosecuted on informant testimony, anyone could. Traditional code of silence breaking down. Several Rizzuto associates reportedly left Montreal after arrests. Relocated to Toronto, Ontario, other provinces. Some left Canada entirely. Hells Angels solidified control over drug distribution networks Rizzuto's once dominated. Calabrian crime families expanded operations. Street gangs gained independence. Fragmentation created volatility. Territorial disputes occurred. Shootings increased. Rizzuto model had been centralized control. Vito maintained relationships with all factions. Mediated disputes. Enforced order. System required strong leader with unquestioned authority. Leonardo lacked that authority. Inherited position by default. Organization structure had collapsed. Leadership imprisoned. Associates scattered. Rivals emboldened. Rizzuto crime family as existed under Niccolo and Vito, finished. Inside Bordeaux, Leonardo maintained routines. Exercised, read legal documents, met with attorney. Sister Libertina, visited regularly. Mother Giovanna, elderly but aware. No wife, no children, no direct heirs. If he died, Rizzuto bloodline ended. Dynasty grandfather built. Empire father grew. Finished. Finality added weight to trial. Not just one man's freedom. Closing chapter of Montreal's most powerful crime family. Leonardo Rizzuto sits in Bordeaux jail, age 56, awaiting trial, charged with first-degree murder, conspiracy to commit murder. 14 years of alleged violence. The trial begins March 2026. The proceedings will last months. The evidence is substantial, the testimony extensive, the verdict uncertain. If convicted, Leonardo receives mandatory life sentences, 25 years before parole eligibility. He would be 81 years old. If acquitted, he walks free. But freedom is relative. His enemies remain. The highway shooting proves that. Leonardo Rizzuto has survived 3 assassination attempts. Statistics suggest the 4th succeeds. The Rizzuto organization, as structured under his grandfather and father, no longer exists. Leadership imprisoned, associates scattered, territory lost, revenue streams controlled by rivals. Montreal's organized crime landscape has fragmented. The Hells Angels dominate drug distribution. Calabrian families control construction extortion. Street gangs operate independently. No single entity holds the power the Rizzutos once wielded. This fragmentation creates instability. Violence increases. Public safety suffers. The Rizzuto model, whatever its flaws, maintained order. Vito negotiated disputes. He prevented turf wars. He kept violence away from civilians. The new environment lacks that discipline. Shootings occur in shopping mall parking lots, in residential neighborhoods, on highways during rush hour. Law enforcement increased resources targeting organized crime. Project Alliance was one operation among many. Police continue surveillance. They build cases, but arrests alone don't solve the problem. Removing leaders creates power vacuums. Vacuums generate conflict. Conflict produces violence. Leonardo's trial will answer specific questions. Did he order these murders? Did he lead the organization? Did he inherit his father's role, or just his father's problems? But the trial won't answer larger questions. Can Montreal ever return to centralized organized crime control? Does the Rizzuto name retain power after Leonardo? Where does the next generation come from? There are no male Rizzuto heirs. Leonardo has no children. His brother Nick had children, but they're not involved in organized crime. His sister Libertina has children, but they've distanced themselves from the family business. The Rizzuto dynasty ends with Leonardo. Win or lose. Convicted or acquitted. The name that controlled Montreal for 40 years has no succession plan. Montreal moves forward. The city that once feared the Rizzutos now watches Leonardo's trial with curiosity rather than terror. He's become a historical figure before his story ends. Niccolo Rizzuto immigrated to Canada in 1954. He was 30 years old. He had nothing. He built an empire through violence, discipline, and business acumen. He controlled Montreal for 3 decades. His son, Vito, expanded that empire. He created international connections. He earned hundreds of millions. He maintained power through intelligence and strategic thinking. He died free, despite multiple prosecutions. Leonardo inherited what remained after a decade-long war decimated the family. He inherited enemies. He inherited debts. He inherited a reputation he didn't build, and now he sits in prison, facing life sentences. 3 generations, 70 years, beginning with a Sicilian immigrant, arriving in Canada with nothing, ending with his grandson in a Canadian courtroom. The rise of the Rizzuto family changed Montreal. Their fall is changing it again. Whatever emerges from this transition will define the city's criminal landscape for the next generation. But that story hasn't been written yet. For now, Leonardo Rizzuto waits. The trial approaches. The evidence mounts. The jury will decide. And Montreal watches to see if the last Rizzuto falls. And if you made it this far, you know what to do. Hit the bell. Cases where the truth is darker than any fiction. See you in the next one.